Welcome to my Wednesday ramblings. This weekend, as we approach the feast of Christ the King, I'm moving in a slightly different direction rather than finishing the previous message series, What a Difference on the Feast of Christ the King. I'm actually starting a new message series that will continue through till Christmas. And the message series is It's a Wonderful Life. It's all about, and starts from the movie that was produced way back in 1946, telling the story of a man by the name of George Bailey and his life. And it's a ordinary sort of film, thought to have been at the time going to be a great box office success, but it was an absolute failure. But through a quirk of circumstances, it's become one of the most watched movies in American history. It's not quite that well known in Australia, but it simply tells the story of a man who didn't believe he'd made much of a contribution until he found out that in fact he'd made an incredible contribution to his community. It's all about his gratitude, and it was the way in which he used his gifts for the good of others and didn't ever really appreciate what had happened. And I suspect that as we enter into the Advent season, we're going to be faced with lots of busyness. For much of the world, it's not really Advent, it's simply the pre-Christmas rush, where we're expected to do so many things and be involved in so many activities. And yet, the most important is the fact that we have the opportunity to actually sit down and be in the presence of God. So this weekend we start with the Feast of Christ the King, and we're reminded that the book of Revelations, that God is going to come amongst us, and the importance of how the faithfulness of Jesus Christ is the cornerstone of our Christian life, that Jesus was faithful, and because of that fidelity, we too have the promise of everlasting life. Look forward to developing the theme with you, and hope to see you next week as we gather to share something of the story of the gospel.